Welcome to Something to Talk About. This is the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center, and these programs are sponsored by Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island, which offers day stay, respite programs, and memory care, and soon to offer assisted living and independent living as well. Learn more, call 360-689-4314. And by calling that number, you can also schedule a tour of Fieldstone's apartments on Rolling Bay today. I would like to also, before we get started with Tech Talk with John Chen, acknowledge that the Senior Community Center is on the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Suquamish tribe, the people of the clear salt water. We are grateful for the caretaking of these lands since time immemorial by the Suquamish, and we are grateful as well for their hospitality. Thanks, John, for coming back again to enlighten us about the world of technology. And you put together kind of a grocery list of things that we might talk about this month. And if we don't get through them all, we'll just move it on and talk some more next month, right?
Yep.
Great.
As Reed has mentioned, that we have a long list of items, and I wasn't sure exactly which would be important to many of you. And so I put together a list, and we'll just go through the list. And if you have any kind of topics you would like to add, we'll just add it to the list and shuffle the list around as we need. Okay.
Yeah, I think that the top of the list, you have fitness trackers, which, you know, this time of year is when we often are thinking about resolutions and maybe making more of the phone or the Fitbit or the fancy Apple Watch that we got. So that might be a great place to start.
Okay. Fitness trackers. There are a number of variety of them. Some of them you have to use it with a paired phone. Others are totally independent, and it doesn't matter. It's just a device, a standalone device. And one of the most basic is a step counter, which counts how many steps you take. And many of them you wear on your belt, and it may cost somewhere between $5 to $20. And it will take you through certain steps in figuring out how long each one of your stride is. Then it can say, all right, by the end of the day, today you have taken X number of steps. And they are not attached to anything. They can be. And so now for step counting, if you already have a smartphone, and that phone can be Android phone or Apple iPhone, most all of the smartphones out there already have a step counter in them, as long as you're carrying it around in your pant pocket or in your jacket. And depending on where it is, all you have to do is go into the exercise app, and it will show you how many steps you have taken for that day. And in fact, all of them will cut it off at midnight, and the next day will be added to your next day's steps. And so without having to buy anything else, if you already have a smartphone, go ahead and look in there and you'll be able to find a step counter. Now, a device that's totally independent of any kind of phones, most common is a Fitbit. And Fitbit is a small digital watch that you can wear on your wrist. They have different shapes and different features. And they run from maybe $30 to $150. They have other features in them, in addition to step counting. They can also monitor your heart rate. monitor your sleep. It can also monitor your temperature. And it has a number of different variety of things that it can monitor. So you have to do a little research for that. For Samsung, their prices are somewhere between $120 up to about $300. And Apple smartwatches, they are $200 to $400. And yes, you can get top of the line, which can get up to $600 or $700. But all of them do very similar things. The type of watches that is paired with a phone, you can actually get your phone messages onto that watch. So instead of having to pull your phone out of your pocket, if you have a incoming call or incoming message, that message will actually be shown on your phone. I mean, from your phone to your watch.
So I'm wondering, does that mean that I have to have my phone and my watch on my body at the same time?
Maybe. If you get a watch that also has a cellular chip in it, which means that watch is an independent cell. It has a cell chip with a cell number. So for you, the person, you'll have a cell phone and you will have a watch with a cell chip. So you essentially have two numbers.
Right.
No
You have your Dick Tracy phone.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Dick Tracy phone. And the watch number, no one can really call you on it. It is how the AT&T or Comcast or T-Mobile, that's how they will bill you. And it is how that number on your watch gets connected to the number that's on your phone. Now, if you have a smartwatch of some kind, and if it's connected to a cell tower, usually there is a fee of $10 a month. And in those cases, then you do not have to carry the watch and the phone on your body. But most people will end up buying a watch that doesn't have a cell chip. So yes, then you will have to carry the phone and the watch. So some of them are waterproof, which means that you can go swimming with it. And some of them can also track your bicycle rides or your running or any kind of exercise. And as I said, the range goes from $30 to maybe $200-300. So that is an easy way to start exercising and watch what you have done. And as I said before, if you want a most straightforward device, which is a step counter, it is already in almost 100% of the smartphones that's out there. Okay. Quite a few of you probably got a new phone or received a new phone or received some kind of new device over Christmas. And whenever I purchase a new device, the first thing I do is, in the case of a phone, I have, here it is, it's in focus. It's just a cover that goes on top of the phone because I don't want to carry my phone around and drop it and ends up chipping it. So this is essentially a protector. You can buy one for $15 to some really expensive ones, but $15 unit would do just fine. And it has a little hole here for the camera lenses to go through. And in this case, come on, focus, There we go. I have a little pocket for me to put my credit cards. Second thing you should get is, again, this is extremely inexpensive. It's a screen cover. It's a sheet of glass, and you actually put this on top of your smartphone. Now, this is a piece of glass, and when you buy it, they will send you a little guide. So you put this on your phone, and then you take this sheet of glass and put it on top and center it on your phone. This is made out of glass. As you can see, this is a used one. I hope you can see it you'll notice that there are a whole bunch of cracks in it. I did drop this phone, and the thing that broke or cracked is this piece of glass, and you can replace it. I bought 3 of these for $9. All right, so it's very inexpensive. And so if you do break it, you replace this $3 item. If you have a camera on your phone, the camera you can also buy a little screen protector for your camera lenses, because most of us would take a phone, stick it in our pocket, or stick it on in a purse, or toss it onto a table. And the camera lenses are fragile, so you can buy a little camera lens protector. It's just it's a little thing about yay big, and you snap over your camera lenses, and they cost about also, I bought 3 of them for $10. All right, so, all right. Now, a lot of people do use a cell phone when they will just read whatever it is on the cell phone when they're in the bathroom. And yes, there are people who will accidentally drop their phone in a toilet or a sink or anything else that's wet. If you do drop it in water, I would say probably 99% of the phones out there are pretty water repellent. And many of them can stay underwater for maybe half an hour, as long as the water is no deeper than a couple feet. When you get that phone out of the water, some people will say, oh, stick it in a bowl of rice to suck the moisture out. You can do that. And don't turn it on. The most important thing is don't turn it on. Dry it off, put it on the counter where has a fairly good amount of air blowing across it, and let it dry for a day. And then turn it on, because if you turn it on too quick, the water that's inside of the little ports could cause a short. Now, what happens if you're out someplace, let's say you decide to go fishing, and you want to take your phone with you? Well, if you ever go to, let's say, maybe some home show or RV show or a boat show, you'll find that state parks department will actually give out these plastic sleeves. And there is a rope, and you can hang it around your neck, and you'll stick your phone inside of it. On top, there is 2 different zip locks that seals it. And so now you can just wear this thing around your neck, and it will stay dry. Now, if you're desperate and you don't have one of those, and somebody invited you to go canoeing or go walk on a beach, and you want to play it safe, by the way, when you're on the beach, the sand is also not very friendly to your phone. So if you're desperate, you don't have one of these, you can use a good old Ziploc. And you probably have them in the kitchen. And just take a Ziploc, open it up, toss your phone in there. And most of these Ziplocs, you can still use the phone with the inside of the bag. And you can also tap on the screen, just like a normal screen protector. Now, I used to be in boating a lot, and I got a whole slew of these phone protectors, and I still have them. So I'll probably bring some to the senior center. So anybody who wants one will be able to pick one up. And I'll talk to you later about it, Reed. Okay. Questions? All right. Let's talk about cameras and photos. People keep on saying that a lot of professional photographers, if you ask them, what kind of camera should I get? They usually will say the best camera you can get is the camera you have with you at the time you need it. And most of us will have a smartphone. So the best camera you got is the phone you've got in your pocket. And in the old days, when we still had to buy film, every time we click that little shutter, it's a certain amount of money, because you're not going to see the picture until you send it in, get a print, and you pay for that shot. With digital photos, you can keep snapping, and it's essentially free. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. The challenge is most of us will end up snapping pictures of things that we'll forget about it, and all of our pictures will just stack up. One of my habit is whenever I'm in a store or whenever I'm in Costco, I see an item that I think will be nice, so I take a picture of it. I may take 2 pictures of it so I can show it to my wife later. And a week or 2 weeks later, it's still sitting on my phone and taking up room. All right. So if you take a lot of pictures, there's nothing wrong with taking pictures, but just remember, your phone can only hold so many pictures. And on average, 1 gigabyte is 1 followed by 9 zeros. 1 gigabyte of space on a phone can usually hold somewhere between 500 to 1,000 pictures. You can probably hold more if you take low resolution pictures, and I'll touch on that in a minute. And if you want to take really high resolution pictures, you may only be able to, for 1 gigabyte of memory on your phone, you may only be able to save 5 to 10 pictures. And if really what you want to use those pictures for. If you want to just show the picture on the phone to your friends and family, that doesn't take a lot of memory. If you want to take that picture and actually print it on paper, then it needs a better resolution. And if you're going to take one of your pictures and blow it up and have 8 by 10 prints made so you can put it on the wall, then you need a really high definition pictures. And so you have all of these pictures. What do you do with them? There are ways you can save all of your photos in something that's called a cloud. A cloud is really just a place think of it as a storage space different company has available for you to save pictures. The reason it's called a cloud is it's not physically on your device, but it's somewhere on the planet. It could be here, it could be Seattle, it could be New York, it could be in Alaska. It doesn't really matter. It's just someplace that the company has said, okay, well, if you sign up with us, we will keep your pictures someplace and we'll keep it safe. And they usually have different pricing. Usually they will give you maybe 5 gigabyte, which is 5 followed by 9 zeros of space for free. And different companies have different amount of pricing. For example, if it's Apple, you get 5 gig free. But if you need more, they will sell you 50 gig for 99 cents a month. All right, so that's fairly inexpensive. Amazon Photos, I think Amazon Photos, they don't have a free tier. I think the lowest cost one is 100 gigabyte for $1.99 or $2 a month. If you want more, yes, you can pay more. If any of you ever signed up for Amazon Prime, right, that's a membership thing and you get free delivery and etc. They have unlimited storage for your photos with that membership. So if you didn't know about it, you can start saving all your pictures on Amazon Prime. Google Photos, they also have 100 gig, which is 100 followed by 9 zeros for $1.99 a month. There's another service called Dropbox, which is they give you 2 gig of space for free. Then it's $10 a month for 2 terabytes. 2 terabytes is 2 followed by 12 zeros. Right. So
That sounds like a lot.
that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot for most people, right? Unless you have some huge amount of data you want to save.
It looks like Cynthia might have a comment.
Yes.
She's looking for her unmute button. There we go.
I am, and I found it, and I can hear you all. It's wonderful. Thank you. This is also helpful and interesting. When we talk about the cloud, I'm not one of those consumers that likes to know how they're connected to other world problems. And are these clouds part of what they're talking about that data farms have that are using huge amounts of energy in all these different locations? Is that what a cloud is linked to?
Yeah, and it's a cloud is sort of a generic term to say, okay, we have a bunch of storage here, and you, the consumer, will save pictures, your data, etc., at that location.
Okay.
Yes, it does take a lot of energy, but that is also designed for millions and millions of people to save their information there.
Okay. So I purchased a box about this big. I'm looking at it about 10 years ago, and it's called My Book. And I've been dragging my photos over to My Book. It plugs into the wall, and when I want to go find something, I plug it into my computer. But I just have this greater feeling of safety and privacy and control over these things I make that are mine, these photos. I'm one of these Luddites, I guess, who likes to put it in a box right here at home and not be in the cloud. I've never joined the cloud. I've taken some free Dropbox stuff. Yes. Are we going there next?
This is this is very similar to what you're talking about. And there are a couple of thoughts between a device, a disk that's physically in your home versus the cloud.
Okay, great.
And one of the key thing is the device you have in your home. If you have a fire or if you have a flood, you may lose that device. You may lose everything that's on it. And you can say, well, all right, I'll take that device and I'll copy it to a second one.
Yes.
You have two copies. And I used to do that. And what happened was, like, let's say my wife and I decided to go out of town. I'll have one over here and another one sitting in the laundry room closet and hide it away in case somebody breaks into the house.
Or put it in your, have to buy a big safety deposit box to put your other box in.
Yes.
And I used to feel some level of safety when I physically can touch and feel where my backup is, where all the photos that I own is sitting. And most of these discs, after X number of years, they start to wear out. And I started having problems. And once in a while, that disc will be not readable or not accessible. Then I says, oh, dang, now I got to figure out how to retrieve all of those info before that device actually dies on me. So I'll get another new device, buy it, and copy everything over before that old one actually dies on me. The advantage of a cloud is, okay, I'm going to let it go, let someone else make sure that data is safe, is secure, and that's a key, is safe, is secure. And then if there is a disk problem, accessibility problem, then the vendor, like let's say Apple, they will make sure, their technology people will make sure that there is always a good backup for the paying customers.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, it's safer. Another one is accessibility. You have all of these pictures that you have taken. What happened if you happen to, let's say, go down to your daughter's place and want to show pictures? You can't. It's home.
Yeah.
When it's on the cloud, it means you can do it from your device, your phone.
Uh-huh.
So that's an advantage.
Okay.
Now, you have to.
If you work for the National Security Administration, though, maybe they would prefer you use their own private backup. So I don't know what Cynthia's keeping track of on her.
Everything. Everything.
Everything.
You know, can we still keep talking about photos a little bit, the storage?
Sure.
I also have the bad habit of making copies of the photos,
Oh,
or I will edit them so they're perfect, and I end up with hundreds and hundreds of either duplicates or really bad ones. And one time I bought a software that was supposed to be able to look at every single thing with the same file extension for a photo, for an image, and would show me what was a duplicate, what was the biggest size of the file, and it was too hard to figure out. And I just wondered, has that technology improved? Because I just really want a clean house here. I just did my mother's memorial video, which often involves hundreds, maybe thousands of photos that people send you, and you sift through them, and I don't want to throw them away, but I want to make sure I'm keeping just what needs to be kept.
Well, I'm totally guilty of that too. A lot of times I would take a bunch of pictures. They are very, very similar. My wife will be standing next to me and she will be taking the same pictures.
Yes.
And then we'll consolidate all the pictures and we say, okay, which one is better? Which one is not so good? And which one has somebody's eyelid closed and half blink? And sometimes I'll make a change. And I say, that's pretty good. Then I'll make a change a little bit different. Yeah, that's probably a little bit better. And I end up with a whole bunch of different versions of the same picture. And yes, there are usually what they call the duplicate photo finders. It will take, no matter what the name of the pictures are, as long as they are very, very similar, it will show you side by side, but you still have to be the one to make a decision on which one you want to keep and which one you want to throw away. I also have a habit of taking a picture that's totally awful in terms of focus and etc. Then I said, well, there's a little artistic piece in it. I may be able to do something with that and make it look pretty. So I keep it. All right. And
Sure.
yeah, I have a mess.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
So that's easy to do for a lot of people that's taking pictures. They end up with a whole bunch of pictures of that look almost identical. And how do you name them to make sure that you can find them later? And so that's a whole separate topic. That's a huge topic.
Yeah.
And we can stick that into another session.
That would be great. That would be really great.
May I
Yeah,
ask
and
another cloud
well,
question?
Yeah, I will also just note that on our YouTube channel, we have earlier discussion by John about editing software for photos. So if you go to the youtube.com/BI Senior Center, you can find a playlist of John's conversations in this vein before. Yes, Eleanor.
I have a number of books that are stored in the cloud that I have no interest in any longer. How do I erase or drop those from the cloud?
Okay, that sort of depends on whose cloud it is.
It's Apple.
It's an Apple, okay. And if you have books and etc. on there, you should be able to look at it using the Apple. Are you using a computer like a Mac?
I have a MacBook Pro, but most of the books I've been reading on my iPad mini.
Okay. And what software are you using on that iPad?
The Kindle.
Using Kindle.
Yeah.
And in the Kindle app, also remember when you have a Kindle account, you don't really have a copy of that book.
Uh-huh.
It is saying Kindle has a database and it says, okay, Eleanor has purchased this book, this book, this book, and all of these books are kept. The original copy is kept over at Kindle. You, unless you tell it, you only get the book that you are currently reading. And you may have 50 or 100 other books sitting out there. If, let's say, you're going to go on a flight and you said, okay, I want to be able to read that book when I'm in the plane, you can download that book onto your iPad. At that point, that book is physically sitting on your pad. Otherwise, that book is just given to you on your device while you're reading it. But let's say you have books, articles, and you have saved and photos sitting in iCloud, and you want to say, all right, I'm done with it. You
Yeah.
should be able to do a 2-finger click on that file or on that book, and you have an option to delete it.
Okay. So it's the two finger click is the key.
Click. But since you're using Kindle, I'm not quite sure how many,
Yeah.
whether it's a one finger or maybe it's in the upper right corner. There may be a little dot, three bars
Uh-huh.
that you can tap on to get the delete option.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Uh-huh. All right. So back on iCloud, one of the key thing, or any kind of cloud storage, one of the key thing is security and privacy. If you do end up keeping photos on the cloud, you want to make sure that you are the only one that can get at it and not have someone else analyze those pictures and look at those pictures or steal those pictures. And that is pretty much vendor dependent. Some companies keep it extremely secure. In fact, they themselves won't even be able to look at your pictures. Apple is one of them. You have the privacy of storing something on the cloud, and with that, you have to be able to read it on your device, right? And your password. If you don't have your password, you will not be able to look at that photo. Apple themselves won't even be able to look at your photo because Apple also doesn't have your password. And I think Dropbox is also that way. And let's see, who else? I am not sure about Google Photo or Amazon Photo, mainly because I haven't looked it up. All right. So, all right. Next, I want to switch to shopping. It's a quick topic. Ideally, when we go shopping, we shouldn't have to use some kind of coupon to get a discount. But it is the way it is, and the stores and merchants have decided to use a coupon, so we have to make use of it. For example, Safeway, they have a e-coupon, which is instead of clipping your coupons, you have to use Safeway app and say, I want to add that item into my coupon list. All right, so there's no clipping coupons, but you're essentially doing the same thing. You're just saving it onto your phone. What I don't like about it is it forces people who wants to save money to use a app on the phone. And a lot of people don't have a smartphone. So that's really unfair, but that's the way the different stores have chosen to proceed with that. But there are advantages in saving you some money. Safeway saves you some money. CVS pharmacy, every once a week, they'll send you an email if you sign up that says you can buy one item at 40% off. And you have to get that electronic coupon. So once a week, you can go into the store, buy any item, and get 40% off. At the end of that week, that coupon expires, and they will send you a new coupon for the following week. Of course, people like companies like Starbucks, there are frequent user coupons. After you buy 10 cups of coffee, your 11th cup is free, or some kind of frequent user cards. So if you do have a smartphone and you do want to take advantage of the coupons, you can always go and find an app by that company and see what they offer. All right.
Now, are there those, you talked earlier in an earlier session about Apple Wallet, but those coupons don't usually work yet with the wallet, right? Those are mostly just credit cards and membership cards.
Apple Wallet is, let me think. Primarily Apple Wallet and Google Wallet are for your credit cards and for your ID cards. I know that for let's see, both my wife and I have a Starbucks card. And the way Starbucks wrote their software, it will allow you to export that Starbucks frequent coffee card into the wallet. So I can get to the card from a wallet. So I can go into Starbucks store, open wallet, whether it be Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, and be able to pay for the item without carrying the actual physical card, plastic card.
Thanks.
Oh, yes. All right. How many of you drive a car? You're driving a car. It's nice to be able to get to your phone. Now, even though you're not supposed to pick up the phone to do things, but both Google phones but when I say Google phone, let's say all Android phones and Apple phones, you can talk to it. They have certain keyword. For Apple, it's called Siri. For Android phones, I think it's Hey Google. You have certain keyword to wake up the phone. Now, one of the things that it will be nice to have is a lot of times I listen to music. And when I get into my car to drive somewhere, I'd like to keep on listening to that music. It will be nice if I can have that music coming out of the car speakers. Right? And this is where I think it's called Google, is it? I think it's Google Auto, no, Android Auto for any Android smartphones. And Apple has something called Apple CarPlay. And what they do is it will take whatever you have on the smart screen, certain apps, and actually take that, transmit it to your car. Now, that also means your car has to be a recent enough car to be able to talk to a phone. And I believe both of these, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, they've been around for quite a while, a good number of years. And you just have to look in your owner's manual to see if your car supports it. So now when I step into my car, my phone will get connected to the car. Now, you're not going to be able to do things that is going to take your eyes off the road. All right. Both designers have decided that no, you're not going to be able to watch a movie on your car's little screen, all right, or read a book or anything else, but you can use your phone's map and have the map show up on your car screen. You can have the music you're playing on your phone piped to the car and have it come out of the car speaker. You can talk to your phone and actually carry on a phone conversation with someone else through the car. So essentially, think of it, the car will have a little display to show maps. If you want to get to someplace, instead of having your phone show a tiny little map, you can have that map show up on your car's display screen. So there are usually two ways to connect the phone to the car. One is a cable. And usually it's a cable, something like, oh, come on, get into focus. Ah, okay. A little cable. Or it can also use something called Bluetooth, which is a wireless connection communication method. It depends on your car and depends on your phone. And you can always take a look at the owner's manual for both of them and to see how they can get connected. All right. Let's see. We got 10 more minutes. I was also going to touch on smart home and also office type apps or photo editing. But in the remaining 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about smart kitchen, smart home. One time I did buy a kitchen appliance. It is, think of it as crock pot, hot pot, or one of these devices. And the owner's manual says, you can connect to this cooking device using your phone. And I thought, why would I want to pick up my phone just to cook dinner? It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I don't use it. All right. I just go grab the pot, plug it in, and using the front panel to key in what I want to do. And there are some advantages for certain things. For example, you may want to I know the Instapot, the brand, does have an app for your phone. So let's say you put your dinner in the pot and you let it cook, and you're supposed to be home at a certain time to shut it off, but you got held up in a traffic jam. You can use your phone to actually turn off that machine. All right. And that's the only reason I can think of that I would ever want to use a phone to control a cooking appliance.
Well, I bet that you could have a thermometer that sticks in your chicken that will tell you when it's 160 degrees, so you don't have to keep opening the door. But again, that doesn't seem like it's that valuable.
Agreed. And but there are some other things that is pretty valuable for a home. And for example, if you have a thermostat, and by the way, we had a thermostat that is umpteen years old, and Puget Power had a promo so you can get these new thermostat, and they provide part of the funding, and it's easy enough to change ourselves. Great. So we got one. Once we installed it, we discovered that it has an app on the phone. So I downloaded the phone app, and what it will let you do. And by the way, this thermostat, it's not super expensive. I think I bought it with the promo from Puget Power for like $60. And the old one was dying anyway, so I replaced it. I can, from any place, take a look to see if what the thermostat is doing. What is the current temperature in the house? Do I want to turn it down? Do I want to turn it up? And before we got this thermostat, whenever we leave the house, we'll always turn the thermostat down a few degrees. And when we get home, sometimes the house is a little cold, we'll go over and crank it back up. All right. And we have to remember to do that whenever we leave the house. With this new thermostat, I can set it up so every day at 10 o'clock, it will turn the temperature down. Every morning at 6 o'clock, it will turn the temperature back up. And if I'm not home, I can say, whoops, I forgot to turn the thermostat down. I can actually open the app and crank the temperature down. All right. So for me, that's handy. Our garage door opener died and had to get it replaced. And it's just a standard garage door opener. And lo and behold, it has a smart home interface. So anytime our garage door goes up, it's when it's fully up, I get a text. It says, door is now up. Right. Or when the door comes down. And also, I don't know if you do it, but whenever I leave the house before, either me or my wife will say, is the garage door down or do we leave it up? Now we don't have to worry about it, because if we're driving away from the house and we don't get that text, we can tap a button, it will close the garage door. And we can look at the garage door at any point, whether it's open or closed. All right. So those are the things that's handy. With a new implementation that's coming out that Apple is participating in, Google is participating in, Amazon is participating in, it's something called Matter. Now, the word is, I don't know who thought up that word. It's called Matter, M-A-T-T-E-R. So when you buy a garage door opener, as long as it will talk to Matter, you can use it with the iPhone, use it with the Android phone, or any other kind of phone that is compatible with Matter. Right. Up to this point, if you have an Apple phone, you have to buy an Apple compatible smart home device. If you have an Android, you have to go look for certain other ones. If you have a Nest, you have to go look for certain other ones. Now, all of them, as long as they're compatible with Matter, you can buy any device that's out there. So that is it. So that is still going through a lot of growing pains, and you don't see that many devices out there right now that supports Matter, but it will be very soon that we'll see all of them compatible with it.
That's very interesting. I had no idea that was in the offing, but that will, like a lot of things, like we're, talking about artificial intelligence, and this is what used to be called the Internet of, the Internet of Things, right?
Yeah.
The idea that we will have better ways to control. And my understanding about those internet or smart thermostats that you were talking about earlier is that they actually do a much better job of saving energy than the old method, which is turn it down, turn it up, turn it down. Although it's a hard habit to break.
It is. And I know that we're going through some home construction right now, and some of the work required the furnace be shut off. So we can just use our phone, shut the thermostat off, and we can keep watch on what the inside temperature is. And the second the job is done, we can crank it back up. So now, I didn't get a chance to show some of the slides. We'll put that off until next week. I mean,
Next month.
session. And we'll also figure out a way where any of you that has some suggestions for topics for you to feed it back to me. So
Just send an email to info@biseniorcenter.org, and I'll make sure they get forwarded to John.
All right, so.
And our next meeting is going to be on the 1st, again, this time of March. So thank you very much, John. I appreciate your insight. And those of you who are watching this, let other people know that we have an archive of these discussions. And I try to keep a note of the topics that we've discussed so you can look through the guidelines or the, you know, the little description at the bottom of the video and see if the topic you're looking for is there.
Thank you very much, everyone.